Hey, what's up everybody? This is my review of Star Wars The Clone Wars, The Rise of Boba Fett. This is the Ultimate Battle Pack, and that includes the massive Slave 1 vehicle, the Jedi Starfighter, and all 5 of the action figures you see before you. R8-B7, Mace Windu, Anakin Skywalker, Young Boba Fett, and Boss. And you also get the corresponding display stands here, the playing cards for the game, the die, and a sticker sheet. Let's have a look at the Jedi Starfighter. Now, the main color for the Jedi Starfighter is a white color, and it's not exactly a bright white. If you look at the color of the fin here and look at the background is actually a pure bright white. But nonetheless, you can see that most of it is colored white. You do have chocolate brown, some yellow gold, some gray, and some darker gray here, as well as black along the edge. Now, the canopy that covers the cockpit, it actually has, well, it's smoky, but it actually has some sparkle to it. I don't know if you can make that out, but there is some sparkle to the canopy. Now, the canopy does open up. You can actually put a figure inside. And here you can have a look at the inside of the vehicle. Pretty detailed. Not too bad. Also up front here, you do have a space for the droid that comes with the Ultimate Battle Pack. You can see here the interior of that compartment. Additional features, well, you do have these 2 projectiles here. You press the button here and they fire off. Looking at the undercarriage or the underside of the vehicle, pretty nicely detailed. I guess I should show you also the rear of the vehicle. Now it does have a additional weapon here. You can pull this down, and as you can see, it actually pulls down like that, and it does also have a missile. You just press down on the trigger right there, and the missile does fly out. So finally, the last feature of this vehicle is you actually can pull it apart, like so, and you actually get 2 separate vehicles. So I suppose you could argue that you actually have 3 vehicles in this Ultimate Battle Pack. But let's take a look at this part of the vehicle. This actually looks good separated. You can see here it's got this design in here. And really, it looks good on its own. And then you have this vehicle here. You can see some detailing there. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look as good as this on its own, but you know, especially if you're a kid, you're going to be delighted in the fact that you can actually, you know, separate the vehicle. Especially if you have a brother that wants to play with you as well, you can just separate the vehicle and give him the other half. But yeah, pretty cool. And to combine them, you simply line them up with the groove and snap them together. And here is a look at the R8-B7 droid inside the secondary cockpit of the Jedi Starfighter. And he sits pretty well. The only problem I have is the cover doesn't quite fit over the figure. And I tried to adjust things a little bit and it still would not actually completely close. You can see there's a gap there. It just doesn't want to close all the way. And just something to note, I mean, it may be that I just need to try a little more, but I was hoping it would be a little easier than that to fit in the R8-B7 droid. But as it is, it's not a really big deal. So now let's take a look at the actual action figures that come with this particular Ultimate Battle Pack. Well, of course you get the stands, and they're your standard issue Star Wars stands, but you do get 5 of them. You do get the die, as you can see, for the card game, and you get the actual cards that correspond with the characters or the figures. Here's the one for R8-B7, Mace Windu, Bosk, Boba Fett, and Anakin Skywalker. And as I mentioned before in the introduction, you do get this set of stickers to apply. I'm not really big on stickers, so these are going to remain on the sticker sheet. Okay, so let's have a look at Mace Windu first. And one of the things I don't like about this figure is the armor right here falls off incredibly easy. I mean, you just look at it wrong and it tends to fall off, but you can see it does come off, and it does come off too easily at times. But here's a look at the figure anyways. But here is a look at the figure. You can see he comes with his purple lightsaber. Got some nice little design emblems on there. Let me go ahead and zoom out here. And also on his helmet. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the head sculpt. Now, in terms of articulation, head goes around. The shoulders, I'll go ahead and remove the shoulder armor. The shoulders are ball hinged shoulders, as are the elbows. Our wrists are on a swivel joint. There is waist articulation. And the legs are simply a swivel joint. So back and forth is all you can go. You can't really go out to the side. I mean, it does go out to the side, but it's not meant to. So just back and forth, forward and backwards. Next up here is Anakin Skywalker. And he has a really cool symbol on his shoulder armor, as you can see right there. And I believe this is my first Anakin Skywalker in my Star Wars collection. And you can see the lightsaber as well. Articulation wise, head can go around. The shoulders are ball hinge shoulders, as are the elbows. And you have a swivel at the top of the glove. You do have waist articulation. And again, the legs are the kind of legs that just go forward and backwards. And there really isn't a lot of out movement. It's not designed that way, as you can see. It's just kind of loose there. Ball hinged knees and ball hinged ankles. And here is young Boba Fett. His head goes around. His shoulders are ball hinge shoulders, as are the elbows. Swivel at the wrist. Waist articulation, again, forward and backwards, although it's hindered by his cloak, which is made out of pretty hard plastic. Then you have a ball hinged knee and ball hinged ankles. And here we have the Trandoshan bounty hunter, Bosk. Looking really good. Nice scale detail there, as well as toe detail, or I should say toe claw. And he also has this little conduit here, which is soft plastic. And actually it looks like it pegs into his front. It just came on loose here. Peg it back in there. Articulation wise, rotation at the head. Shoulders are ball hinge shoulders, as are the elbows. And you have a swivel right there just below the elbow. And that is it. And you can see the detail in his hand slash claw. He has ab articulation. There is no waist articulation. And again, forward and backward is all you get for those swivel hips. You can see there is a bend and a rotation at the knee, and the same at the ankle. And last but certainly not least, you have the R8B7 droid. One cool part is he actually has working wheels on the bottom of his feet, as you can see there. He also has rotation at the head, and he has little compartments where you can bring out little instruments that he can use, as you can see right there. And those store away, of course, in there. And the final bit of fun is you have a grappling hook, I guess. If you pull out here, you can see his head spinning, and you can see there's a little hook there and a string. Well, as you rotate the head, it pulls the string in, like so, and then you can just close up the compartment. So nice little figure. This, according to the box, is a exclusive to this particular battle pack. So now we get to the vehicle that needs no introduction. This is, of course, Slave 1. And I gotta tell you, this is a very, very big Star Wars vehicle. I was really impressed when I first removed it from the box, and I continue to be impressed. So a little 360 action here. And later on I'll show you a size comparison of this vehicle with the 1980s vintage Slave 1. So there's quite a size difference between the two. But looking at the details of this vehicle, first off, you got a lot of different colors going on. You've got dark forest green, you've got some yellows, some navy blue, some gray, silver paint apps here. And the design here kind of reminds me of camouflage. And then you got a couple shades of brown here. So really nice details. And you know, the plastic itself, if you look at it closely, you can see you know panel lines and things of that nature. You know, just details that add more to the actual toy. So speaking of detail, if you look at the underside of the vehicle, you do get quite a bit of detail that's been molded into the plastic. And you know, if you were a painter, you could probably dry brush a lot of this with silver and some other colors and make everything really stand out. I mean, as it is, even though it's just a plain gray plastic, it really looks good as far as the way they actually, you know, molded all the details into the plastic. You can see some, I guess these would be the thrusters here, but lots of nice detail. So now, before I get on to the features of this particular Slave 1, let's go ahead and take a look at a size comparison of the current toy with the 1980s vintage Slave 1. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the play features of the Slave 1 vehicle. First off, I'm going to show you there's a compartment behind here. You lift up this panel, and inside, of course, you can see an area where you can actually store your figures. They even have little pegs that can peg into the bottom of your figure's feet. So, and you also have a little control panel back there. We can have a closer look at the interior of the cockpit by lifting up here, and you can see this rotates up. Now I do want to mention something about the way this is connected there. It looks like a very, very fragile, prone to breaking hinge. So parents, be careful when your kids are playing with this, because if you were to put enough force like this and force it beyond a certain angle, it's most likely going to break. Seems to be like a really area that's prone to accidental breakage. Anyhow, looking inside, you can see there is an area for the pilot and a couple of passengers, as well as a control panel. So now, looking under the underside of the front of the vehicle, there actually is a little tab here. You pull this down, and out comes this little thing. Not sure exactly what it does. You can store weapons in there, or a figure even. It's large enough to actually have a figure placed in there. But you do have a little storage bay there. Just goes back in like that and just snaps into place. Also up front there is another compartment, as you can see there. Now I do want to show you the gimmick for the pilot area. You can see how it's rotating freely. Well, it's actually not supposed to be rotating like that in the landing position. After you get to the certain point, it'll lock in place. Now I can't move it anymore. So in order to move it and free it up for movement, you actually have to put the wings into flight mode. As you can see here, the fin or wing is parallel to the ship, and that means it is in landing mode. In order to get the ship into flight mode, what you need to do is rotate the fin like so, and when you have the ship in flight mode, you're going to have it in this orientation. And you also notice when you have it in this orientation that you can see the pilot seat, and it also is rotated in the correct orientation. Now as you move the ship back into a landing position, that is going to rotate, if you can see that there. So now it's in landing position, and right now it's in flight mode. Again, landing, and flight mode. So what do I think overall about this Rise of Boba Fett Ultimate Battle Pack? Overall, I like it a lot. The fact that you get this massive Slave 1 vehicle, as well as the full-sized Jedi Starfighter, and also the 5 action figures. I think that's a great deal. Now, the pricing on it, I don't really agree with so much. The pricing at retail for this is around $100. That's just normal retail. Now, I believe the Star Wars AT-AT, the 2010 version, is around $100 to $110. So, my advice, if you are in the market for both the Rise of Boba Fett Ultimate Battle Pack as well as the 2010 AT-AT, I think you should get the AT-AT first. I have that, I just haven't reviewed it yet, but I like it better. I think it's a better value because it actually has electronic lights and sounds. This vehicle does not. But overall, the set is good. I just wish it was cheaper. I think it should be priced around $80 as opposed to the $100 retail price. And, you know, it could have something to do, the price could have something to do with the fact that this is a Toys R Us exclusive. And I suspect because it is that exclusive, they may have, they being Toys R Us or perhaps Hasbro, they may have upped the price or increased the price more than it really should be. So, like I said, I think $80 is a perfect price for this set. Now, having said that, regardless of price, if we take price out of the equation, as a Ultimate Battle Pack, this is a Ultimate Battle Pack. There is no doubt about that. You get the massive Slave 1 and, like I said, all the other things you see before you. So, alright, this has been my review of the Star Wars, the Clone Wars, Rise of Boba Fett Ultimate Battle Pack.